Well, I got news, but I don't know what it is. Something has happened at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Apparently it had something to do with a vehicle crashing through some barriers. One story says that it got halfway up the east steps of the Capitol. The other story is that the crashed vehicle, somebody jumped out of it and got halfway up the east steps of the Capitol. Big security shut down, but it seems to have been an isolated incident. Word is now that workers are being allowed back into the building complex, but no details yet. They're definitely not saying anything about what it is they know about what went on. In fact, most of the network news cable stuff isn't even mentioning that it happened. In other news of significance, etc., tomorrow's the setup day. President Bush will speak to the UN General Assembly. He's flying up there today for meetings all day long with various national leaders around the world, not Iran's leader, Ahmadinejad, who is going to also be speaking to the General Assembly tomorrow. Turns out that what's happening tomorrow is that at the opening of the General Assembly, every nation that wants to gets 15 minutes plus or minus to make their case. And, of course, the President is going to do so because we're hosting the UN, etc. But this time he will be followed 8 hours later by a speech by the President of Iran, Ahmadinejad, who is also being set up and helping to set up what looks like a media debate, if you will. The two speeches likely to refer to each other and each other's problems. A Russian Soyuz launched today to the International Space Station with a woman tourist on board. Boy, you talk about unexpected. This is a communications and technology expert woman and entrepreneur who just spent $20 million to go into space. I'm impressed. Onward with the spinach scene. 19 states now reporting incidents associated with the spinach from the mostly from the Salinas Valley, I gather, and a second company, this one in San Juan Bautista, has withdrawn all of its leafy products. The problem could be very serious if the testing shows that this is coming up through the water, because most of the Salinas Valley, as I recall, irrigates its crops by pumps out of the underground river, the Salinas River. If that's true, and this E. coli is in that underground river, you're going to look at the Salinas Valley becoming a flower farm very shortly. Are we still there? Yeah, I can hear. Afghan Mountain Fury operation, which is an attempt to pacify the Taliban resurgence in Khost, Paktia, and Ghazni provinces along the northeastern border of Afghanistan. Troops have been deployed there for 2 weeks now. We are not getting much in the way of open battles, although there have been casualties on both sides. This is the area that the NATO commander wants to reinforce and is not getting much support from back in Europe. And the non-aligned nations meeting in Havana last week were in the picture as far as a 90-page resume or report resolution, I suppose, which, among other things, supports Pakistan or Iran's right to have nuclear weapons or nuclear technology, not necessarily weapons, and also approves of the defense by Hezbollah of Lebanon against the Israeli invasion. Interesting points from that. Everything gathering for a really, really, really big week in New York at the UN, starting with the operations tomorrow. One thing for sure, it's doing in New York, and nobody can move. If you're on the surface, you better be walking on the east side, and even then you're going to have to go blocks and blocks out of your way. Streets are closed, intersections secured, big-time security this year at the UN. We'll see whether that pays off. And that's enough news for now. I'm Travus T. Hipp on the Pig on the radio on what must be Mondays. Stay tuned.